What's going on, guys? This is Vince with vshred.com, and in today's video I'm going to show you one of the biggest arm training mistakes when it comes to whether you're doing curls or extensions with dumbbells, with barbells, whatever it is. And once you fix this, you're going to start getting more out of the exercises that you're doing. Like I said, today's video is going to be about a arm training mistake that I actually was just at the gym the other day and I saw a guy doing some curls, and I see it all the time, but this just made me want to make a video about it because obviously arms are a big sought after feature in a body. Having big arms just makes you feel good. When you fill out your shirts, it makes you happy, depending on who you are. And so making sure that you're training your arms correctly is huge if you're trying to put on size for your biceps and your triceps. And this fix is going to work for any type of arm exercise, whether it's, and I'm gonna show you it with dumbbell curls, also with barbell curls, and then I'm gonna show you it with some close grip bench press, and I'm gonna show you it with some cable extensions, and it's all going to be related to the exact same idea of a tip. Now, before I get into that, I will say if you're trying to build arm muscle, you can do this tip today and it will help you, but you have to make sure that you're getting enough protein, you're also getting enough carbs to fuel your body, and you're getting enough fats to fuel your body. If you don't know how many carbs, fats, and proteins you should be having, I do have a free macro calculator in my body type quiz. There's a link to it right below this video in the description. Check it out, take the quiz, you'll get the results at the end, and it's that simple. Follow those and it's gonna help you a lot with getting in shape. Now, jumping into this video, like I said, I'm going to show you it with four different exercises. First one is going to be dumbbells, and the tip is going to be related to elbow movement. So when you see people doing curls, and I'm just going to rock out a couple curls, actually I'll just do double. What's the biggest issue you see right here? Well, my elbows are going back and forth. And so this is exactly how I saw the guy doing curls at the gym. He was sitting there and he was just rocking out curls just like this. And so dropping one dumbbell here, what's happening when you're curling the weight like this? Well, how do you work your bicep during a curl? You work your bicep by getting flexion in your elbow and then getting extension in your elbow, straightening and bending your elbow. That's how you shorten and lengthen that bicep muscle. And so one of the most important things to remember is that you need to keep your elbow in the same spot throughout the exercise, except for maybe letting your elbow come forward a little bit at the top to get that peak contraction. But for the most part, this elbow is not supposed to be swaying back and forth. You're not supposed to be getting this shoulder extension and this shoulder flexion. You're not supposed to be having any of this, because when you do, now you're taking away from the range of motion with your dumbbell. If you ever see anybody doing curls like this, or if you're guilty of doing curls like this, and it might not be this exaggerated, you might not be going like this, but you might be going like this. And so what's happening even here is my arm is not getting straightened as much as it could. I'm not getting the full stretch of that muscle. And then when I come up to the top, if I'm bringing my elbow too far forward, now I'm just kind of resting this at the top rather than actually keeping my elbow where it should be and squeezing instead. So rather than going like this, now I'm getting tired, make sure you're getting full range of motion, and it's going to help you a lot more with every single rep. So that's dumbbell curls. Let me grab a dumbbell or a barbell real quickly and show you the same thing. So it's the same concept here. You're getting this bar and you're rocking it out just like this. Well, same thing, I'll show you from the other side. When your elbows are coming back and forth, just like so, you're not getting that full range of motion, just like so. So rather than allowing your elbows to come out to the side, also another thing that I want to mention is letting your elbows come out, not only in front of you, but also out to the side. You want to keep your elbows tucked into your body as much as possible when you are doing these curls, because that's going to allow for the best contraction. If you're going from here and then bringing your elbows out while you curl this up, and it's probably a little more prominent when you're doing a dumbbell curl, rather than actually curling it correctly, you're letting your elbow kind of come out to the side. And again, this might be exaggerated, but I have seen guys in the gym who are curling like this. And they're bringing their elbows out to the side, and they're not being strict on themselves with that form to make sure they're going from that starting position, which is your elbows tucked in by your side, and then going from here and keeping your elbow in the same spot, curling it all the way up to the top, squeezing out at the top, and returning it all the way back down while that elbow stays in the same spot. So fix that with your bicep exercises, and that's going to be for any type of bicep exercise out there. If you eliminate that shoulder extension and that shoulder flexion that happens when you are curling, and it generally happens when you're curling too much weight, you're gonna get a lot better contraction with that bicep muscle. So now let's move on to triceps, and I'll show you a couple for those. All right, so I'm over here on a cable pulley machine now, and this is, like I said, gonna be for any type of tricep extension. I just have the rope here because this is one of the most common tricep extension movements that I see done. You can also do this with a straight bar, with an easy bar. You can do an overhead. It's all gonna have the same idea here related to elbow movement. So when you do see people doing a tricep extension, a lot of times you see them going like this, and you see them getting super heavy weight, and this might not look that bad, and again, it might be a little exaggerated. You might see it more like this, but just this little forward and backward movement of your elbows is taking away from your triceps, and it's going to make a massive difference the next time. If you're trying to build big triceps, if you want definition in your triceps, obviously you gotta be lowering your body fat percentage, but you also gotta be training your triceps correctly. And one of the best things that I've found when it comes to smaller muscle groups, like what the biceps and the triceps are, is that you have to be more strict with your form. With stuff like chest and back, those are bigger muscle groups. You have compound movements when you're working those, so you can go a little heavier. With smaller muscle groups, strict form has always worked best for me. I had tiny arms growing up. I've grown them considerably since learning what works best. And one of the best things that you can do is get rid of this forward and backward movement, because when you go from here to here, all that you're doing is creating momentum so that it's easier for your tricep to push this weight down, versus if you keep your elbow right there in that same spot and you bring it up and you squeeze it back down. You do this 10 times versus this 10 times, you're going to be, I don't know, twice as fatigued just from keeping that elbow in the same spot the entire time. So next time you go to do any kind of extension, make sure that you're not moving your elbow with that and staying strict with that form, squeezing all the way at the bottom. Then when you bring it up, not releasing tension, because that's the other thing, is when you do bring this forward, like just to right here, I've lost all tension. I'm kind of just holding on to this rope with my hands. I'm working my forearms a little bit because of the grip strength, but I'm not working my triceps. If I keep my elbows down here and I don't allow it to come all the way up, now I'm working my triceps right there, and I'm going to be having tension on them throughout the entire movement, versus losing the tension up here, creating momentum to get it down there, and just not getting the same amount of work from the movement. So now let's move on to close grip, because I got another good one. All right, so down here on the bench press, and like I said, this is gonna be related to a close grip bench press. If you don't know what a close grip bench is, it's just a regular bench, hands just slightly inside of shoulder width apart, and then you're taking the bar, and rather than letting your elbows move down at like a 45-degree angle and up at nipple height, you're actually squeezing your elbows in and bringing the bar just under your chest line, just under your sternum, and then pressing up, keeping your elbows tucked in. Now the tip that I want to say here is, well, additional tip here is, make sure you're not going too close with your hands. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes people make with close grip, because it's just going to put your wrist in a weakened position and not allow you to push as much weight as you could press. But when you do get the hand positioning right and you are bringing this bar down, big issue I see is same thing with elbow placement, elbow movement. I see people going too heavy and they end up looking like this. They have their hands where they need to be, but their elbows are flaring out like crazy. Now this position right here is first off horrible for your elbow, and my elbow is feeling the pressure right now, but also you're not working your triceps nearly as much as you would if you were to do it correctly. And doing it correctly looks like this. You almost act as if your elbows are in one plane of motion going up, or I should say, almost like they're on, I like to use the reference, railroad tracks. They have railroad tracks running up and down just outside of your body, and your elbows have to stay in line with that. If you can keep that thought in your head when you're doing this, and keep your elbows tucked in as you press this weight, and keep them there the whole time, squeeze at the top, and even at the top you're not bringing them out, you're keeping them in. As you bring it down, you're keeping them on those railroad tracks, keeping them there. As you press up, keeping them on the railroad tracks, not allowing it to come like this, then you're going to get a much better contraction with your triceps simply because you're keeping those elbows tucked in. If you want to work more shoulders, obviously the higher your elbows go up. So if you want to work more triceps, the lower your elbows go down, and that's going to help you get the most out of the movement. So the next time that you go to work your arms, whether you're doing biceps, I don't care what exercise, or triceps, I don't care what exercise, watch what your elbows are doing. That's what this whole video is meant for. And one of the biggest mistakes that I see made with people when they're hitting arms are either going too heavy and therefore their elbows are flaring or moving forward and back, or that's usually the main thing, or they just simply don't know. And hopefully this video will help clear that up and help anybody out there who is guilty of this, whether it's as exaggerated as I made it or just a slight variation of what I showed today, and fix that moving forward and start getting more out of your bicep and tricep exercises. So hopefully this video helped you guys. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, make sure you're smashing that subscribe button. Got a big fam growing here on YouTube. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.